Hey guys, it's Jessica Collins from forestbathingcentral.com, and today I just wanted to show you a sneak peek inside the Forest Bathing Immersion Guide. Now this comes as part of the immersion library, the Forest Bathing Immersion Library that I have on forestbathingcentral.com. And what it is 33 forest bathing exercises to try. When you log into the site, you get a PDF of each exercise, and the first 2 pages are a breakdown of the exercise, and then the third page is a smaller version, a shortened version of the exercise, and a journaling card. And these are printed to be smaller, so you can fold it in half and put it in your back pocket or whatever and bring it with you to the forest. So you don't have to bring the whole book with you. You just have to bring the little card because it's the condensed version, and then the journal prompt so that you can journal when you're done or before you do the exercise. So then there's also a guide, an immersion guide, that takes you through the how-to of forest bathing, the why the heck would you go forest bathing in the first place, how to journal, so that little journaling card or a notebook if you want to bring it, how to use that, what the heck do you even do, like do you just write down what you did, what you saw? Well, you could do that, but this goes a little bit deeper into more universal ideas, things that you can really delve deep into when you're journaling. So not just a dear diary, this is what I did today. It's more of like, what can the forest teach me? That type of thing. So it goes, I think there's like 3 pages of journaling, and there's journaling prompts in there to help you get started and help you just kind of dip your toe into the water of nature journaling. So I took the guide, the immersion guide, and printed it, and I printed each of the exercises, and I had them bound at just Kinko's, FedEx Kinko's, and it was like $5 or something. And so I have them all inside this book, and it's really handy because then I have the whole thing together in one piece, protected from the kids, from myself, and then I can refer to it out of this book. It's really handy to have the book printed and bound. So that's what I did. I just took it to FedEx Kinko's and had it bound for like $5 something. So it was really easy. Well, if you print it there, it's much more expensive, especially if you print it in color, but I printed it at home and took the pages there and had them bind it. So that's what I did with the pages, and you can do that too. It's very easy. It only took them like a couple seconds to do it, and it's really nice. I really like having this guide for myself. So I'm just gonna give you a few sneak peeks, and I think the camera might be backwards so you're not gonna be able to read it really, but I just want to give you like an idea of what's inside. It's very, very similar to the starter guide on the Forest Bathing Central website. So if you've gotten my starter guide, then you pretty much know what this is gonna look. The starter guide is just a couple pages long, and the immersion guide is many more pages long and goes much more into depth. So, but the layout is the same. Everything's very similar, so you know what you're getting. So every exercise has an introduction page that comes with, it tells you some of the benefits of the exercise, and those are just based on some of the research. Or if it's a grounding exercise, then you know it's going to be good for mindfulness, right? Because that's what grounding is. So I just put those together, and then what you need to take with you, and usually it's just a tree or a patch of trees or a forest. You usually don't need to bring anything with you. There's no fancy equipment. There's nothing fancy you have to do. So most of the time it's just that. Once in a while I do have, one of them might have a camera. I give you a little bit of permission to use the camera. Then there's a reflection verse for each one, and I chose a reflection verse for each one very carefully. I went through a whole lot of poems, quotes, whatever I could find about each exercise that coincides with the message of the exercise. I guess that's kind of hard to explain, but if you have the starter guide, you know what I'm talking about. It's usually a little quote or a verse or something that really ties everything together. And at first, when you first read it, before you do the exercise, it might be kind of like, this is pretty abstract, or you don't really have a connection to it. But when you come back from the exercise, I'd love you to read this after you come back, because it might take on some whole new meaning, and it might really bring everything together, or say it in a way that you wish you could say it. That's how I chose these verses. It's very near and dear to my heart. So then the exercise notes. Each exercise comes with exercise notes that sort of breaks down the why behind the exercise, gives you a little bit of background information or insight into the exercise. So make sure you read that before you go into the exercise. Then the second page of the exercise is the actual exercise broken down step by step by step all the way to the bottom. And I mean, these are super doable and super approachable and accessible for anybody that wants to try. So, I mean, basically each exercise starts with a grounding sort of technique where you take a few breaths, you get yourself centered, and then it goes through the exercise and what you do. And at the end, it's sort of a bring it back to the moment now and sort of culminate the experience. So that's what the exercises are. Inside the guide, it tells about how long you should be doing these exercises, and really everything is going to go back to, it's up to you. Like, there are no rules. This is not a rule book. These are suggestions. So some of the research says that just 15 minutes of nature is enough to give you a whole bunch of benefits. So if you only have 15 minutes, get outside, get under a tree. If you live in the city, just find a tree. But there was another study that said, I think it's like 4 days immersed in nature would give you like 30 days of benefits. Now, I don't know a whole lot of people that would be out in nature for 4 days straight, just purely in nature. I mean, I know a few, but most of us don't have time for that. So just a little bit every day is going to give you a lot of benefits. And if you want to read about those benefits, I have a huge comprehensive resource on the site about all the benefits of forest bathing. And it's like everything. It's immunity, it's mental, it's physical, it's everything. It really helps the body to be back in nature where we belong, where we came from, where we spent most of our civilization in. So that is a pretty good introduction. There is a section, so the book goes through how to forest bathe. What is forest bathing? Why would you want to? Then there's a page on how to use this guide. So it breaks down each exercise and what you should be doing with each page. Pretty much what I've just kind of covered in this video. There's some resources in here on finding forests in your area. There's a whole section on journaling. The nature journaling guide is inside, and it gives you like an introduction to journaling and journaling prompts and why you would journal, when to journal, all of that information. And I feel like I should probably make a more comprehensive guide about that, because it's something that I'm really passionate about, is journaling. I journal as part of my morning routine. It's not nature journaling all the time, but it's a very powerful tool for self-development. So I think in the future I'll probably be making that section bigger, or making a whole separate nature journaling guide, because I have so much to say about it. I love it. I love doing it. I love doing it with my kids. They have little nature journals. We love doing that kind of stuff. So I feel like I have a lot more to say about that, but I just did a basic sort of like introduction to why you would journal and how to journal. And then there's a whole section on mindfulness, because that's pretty much the goal of forest bathing. using the senses, and so engaging the 5 senses. See, I printed this at home and it's not as good as like if Kinko's would have printed it, but whatever. It goes through the senses, and that is in my exercise video, your intro to forest bathing, like your first exercise. I have a video about that, which I'll link to, and that's I kind of went over that in that video about using your senses. That's in here. And then I hope that gives you enough information to make a decision, and I hope that helps you get a little more insight into what's in here. I mean, I'm like giving you glimpses so you know exactly what you're getting. And I hope this really inspires you to get out into the forest, because I put a whole lot of work into putting together all these exercises, trying them myself. I would love to do audio meditations for each one. That's kind of on my list for something to add to the program. So actual like audio recorded meditations for each one, aside from the pocket guide and the full guide. So that is what's happening. That is what's inside. And if you want to check it out, I will put the link to the immersion program below. I believe it's forestbathingcentral.com/immersion program. So that is a huge glimpse into what this exactly looks like, so you can make your decision and join us. All right, I will see you next time.